buy wipes in little packages where you peel the top off and they pop out to wipe stuff. I've done a bunch of empirical research that says Americans love to buy these things. We have a pattern of buying things that wipe. So I've done the research, I've scrutinized my idea, I've talked to a lot of you people, I've asked you if my price point is acceptable, and I get a yes, 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 yes. So what should I do? Start the business with as little risk as possible. All right, have you heard this? Have you heard the new trendy thing, fail fast? Yeah, learn, or there's a lot of different ways of saying it. I don't understand that. What about succeed fast? Would you rather fail fast and learn or succeed fast and learn? I'd rather succeed fast. I don't understand this one. But anyway, there's this idea out there now that if we improve decision making and learn fast, that we can learn from all of our mistakes, and if we learn from enough mistakes, then eventually we'll pivot and get it right. Right? And with America is right now, entrepreneurs are obsessed with the pivot. You're supposed to go out and fail 2 or 3 times, and that will teach you what to do, and then you'll succeed. To me, this is just a stupid idea. This is a waste of a bunch of time and money, right? I lose money every month that I don't get that business up and running. So why don't I just learn from my mistakes? Well, we're not that smart as individuals, right? We're not good at learning from our mistakes, right? So that's why I have my wife. My wife is my mistake memory. Right? Every time I forget about my mistakes, my wife is right there writing it down. And then 6 months later, she brings out the list. She's like, well, Jim, you tried that one before, and it didn't go so good. Let me just remind you. Yes, honey. And then you tried this, Jim, and it didn't work so good, right? So here's the problem. My intuition is not as good at learning as I hoped it would be. Right? We're not as good at that. And so here, I would really suggest you try to find someone who will be your mistake memory, someone who will say, let's think about this for a second. This is another step in the scrutinization. When you look at the data, when you look at the marketplace and see if it's a good idea or not. But the only thing for us to do is just get older in life, right? And I have found that I'm better now in my intuition than I was when I was 18, right? Because of my life experiences. Because, and here's the important thing, it's not because I've gotten smarter, it's because I've collected more data along the way. That even though I don't necessarily believe in big data, because I think my intuition might be smarter, I've collected enough data points along the way to know that I will pay to get rid of my kids during the summertime. That I hate to walk into a meeting dripping with sweat. Right? These are the things that I've learned in life. And so I've collected enough experience and performance that makes my intuition getting a little better. So even though I don't learn that well from mistakes, I'm still slightly getting better at this. And I would suppose that all of us are too, right? Do you think back on the things you did when you were 18 and just be in shock of how stupid you were? Yeah, I do too. All of the things I did were so stupid. And this is important for us to remember. At what age does a woman's brain stop developing? It's 18. A woman's brain is done at 18. What about for us men? It starts at 18. I haven't heard that before, but that's good. Can I use that one? The male brain doesn't get done until 25. And think about it. When do boys have more car accidents? In that 18 to 25 point, right? Because they're like, I can go 100 miles an hour. Right? Because the brain isn't that, just isn't complete yet. But as we get into our 30s and 40s and 50s and 60s, this experience factor starts to kick in, and we have learned, I can't drink until 2 o'clock in the morning and get up and be effective at 7. I just know I can't do that anymore. And then you think back and like, I couldn't do it then either. Because when I was 18 and I would drink, I would sleep until noon the next day. But now I have this job thing. I have a meeting with a customer in an hour. I can't drink until midnight and expect to have a customer meeting at 8 o'clock in the morning. Your experience tells you these things, right? Slide, please. So, what are the things that we are good at when it comes to intuition? This is important. We're good at the stuff that we encounter every day, and we're bad at the things that are outside of our experience zone. So if you were to ask me what is my gut intuition about industrial engineering, I would have to say, I got no gut on that one. I have no clue. Ask me my experience on my gut instinct on raising kids. I got me 4 kids, 19, 17, 6, and 2. By the way, what do you call someone who has children that are 19, 17, 6, and 2? There's a technical word for someone who does that. You know what that word is? Moron. Yes, a kid in college and a kid in diapers at the same time is technically a moron. Look it up, it's in the dictionary. I know I have a gut instinct about raising kids. I have a gut instinct that says kids don't like to be yelled at. That just doesn't work. What works better? Reinforcing the good things that they do works better than punishing the bad things that they do. Because I've been raising kids now for 20 years, right? But about industrial engineering, I got me no gut. And that's important for us to learn. Our gut is good at some things and horrible about other things. I can't look at a football player and decide whether that guy's going to be NFL quality, college quality, or high school quality. Because I never played football. I just don't care. I don't watch football on TV because I've got no gut there. So here's an important lesson for us to learn is when we're going out in the world and relying on our gut, we need to question ourselves and say, is this something I'm actually good at? Is this an area that I have expertise in? I am really good at marketing to kids and their mothers. I'm really good at that. I'm not so good at marketing to Siemens. Does that make sense? Slide, please. All right, so we're getting toward the end here, so we want to start actually having some bullet points that we can use to take away. And here are some of the skills I think we all need to start worrying about or thinking about or spending more time actually looking at. The collaboration. And I loved how we were talking this morning about how an event like this is 50% education and 50% networking, right? That is so true. Every single job I've gotten was because of a network, not because of my education. Do you know the organization VIBHA, V-I-B-H-A, an Indian nonprofit? I spoke at their conference 2 weeks ago, and my point was that grades don't matter. And this was so interesting. It was for a bunch of high school kids who were about to go off to college, and their parents. The Indian men came up to me afterwards and was like, that's a good point. You're 100% right. Networking is more important than grades. The mothers came up to me and were like, you don't know what you're talking about. You're crazy. Grades matter. Are you with me? Does this make sense? Does that data point fit in with what you know about Indian men and women? And think about it. What is the woman's job? To get the kid into a good school and find a good spouse and make the kid happy, right? What's the man's job? To bring money into the house, right? We're getting very stereotypical here. I know that a lot of women work, and I'm not trying to play any of that game. But still, the men have had an experience where they've learned, how did they get that promotion? Because of who they have lunch with, right? So I want you all to focus on going out there and talking to people and collaborating with people and finding out what other people think about your gut intuition. Because one of the things we're going to do is we're going to test our gut. Later on this morning, I'm talking about creativity. I'm going to have some creativity games. We're going to play some games and learn to see if we can become more creative. That'll be in about an hour. Can we do the same thing with our intuition? Can we teach our intuition to be more receptive to the world around it? And then can we learn to filter the intuition better? I think we can. But if we want to learn French, what do we have to do? Study French a lot. If we want to get our intuition or our creativity better, what do we have to do? We have to work on it. So in an hour, I'm going to give you some ways to become more creative and ways to learn your intuition better. But I'm going to say that